विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पश्चात दिशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Om Srimad Paramahansa Paripradrakacharya Ashtottara Shri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Navadip Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Jamana Mai Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you, Maharaj. And thank you so much, Mahesh Pandit Prabhu, for leading the kirtan. And thank you to everyone for coming here for a Srimad Bhagavatam class with His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami. It is Wednesday, March 1st, 2023 in New York. A day later in Vrindavan. We're in the third canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 15. Tonight we're starting with text number 4 and looking forward to hearing your questions and comments and hoping you will share the link to these classes with your friends. And if someone would like to lead tonight's closing kirtan, let me know, or simply jump in at the appropriate time. And we're grateful you could be with us, Maharaj. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Akendra Prabhu. And thank you, Mahesh Pandit Prabhu. Thank you to all. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Deva Deva Jagathatar Lokanatha Shikamane Padesham Apadesham Tvam Bhutanam Asibhavavit. O God of the demigods, sustainer of the universe, head jewel of all the demigods in other planets, you know the intentions of all living entities in both the spiritual and material worlds. Purport. because Brahma is almost on an equal footing with the personality of Godhead. He is addressed here as the God of the demigods. And because he is the secondary creator of this universe, he is addressed as the sustainer of the universe. He is the head of all the demigods, and therefore he is addressed here as the head jewel of the demigods. It is not difficult for him to understand everything which is happening in both the spiritual and material worlds. He knows everyone's heart and everyone's intentions. Therefore, he was requested to explain this incident. Why was the pregnancy of Diti causing such anxieties all over the universe? Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurn Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manopistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Dadati Shapadantikam Vande Hang Shri Guru Shri Jatapada Kamalan Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Shahagana Raganatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savatutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Shahagana Lolita Sri Vishakhan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanshana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Ori Priye Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Prapasindhobhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Here the demigods are approaching Lord Brahma. Deva Deva Jagatatar. You're the Lord of all the demigods, and you're the sustainer of the universe. Lokanatha Shikamane. And you're the head jewel of the demigods. You know everything. Bhavavit. You know the bhava, the intention of Sarvabhutana, all the living entities, Pareshama Pareshantam, in this world and in the spiritual world. Lord Brahma may not know the specifics of everyone's intentions in the spiritual world in particular, but the basic principle is certainly known to him. Or he's taken as the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the Personality of Godhead actually knows the heart of every living being. Okay, any questions, comments? Yes, Kendra Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. I've been looking for the opportunity to ask you this question for a while. I've been thinking about this purport. The last line of it why was the pregnancy of DT causing such anxieties all over the universe? I wasn't sure what Prabhupada is getting at or why he's inserting that sentence there. Because the way it reads, to me anyway, is that the demigods are approaching Brahma for the answer to what's going on in the universe. There's problems. And why was the pregnancy of DT causing such anxieties? Made me think this was perhaps another subtext provided by Srila Vishwanath, but he doesn't expand on this verse very much. So the way it almost seems to me is that if the demigods are, if Prabhupada is putting that sentence there as a way of saying what the demigods are thinking or expressing, it just made me think that if the demigods are sharp enough to know that a single pregnancy of a single person in one planet of the universe is making things problematic, then maybe they'd know why also, but maybe that's not a fair question.
Well, first of all, looking at the sentence, not the best edited sentence. Why was the pregnancy causing such anxieties? The intended meaning, as far as I can see, is why was a pregnancy that would be a cause of such anxieties going on? Why is there a pregnancy causing such anxiety? That seems to be the intention there. So that's the first thing, what's actually being said. Could be taken the other way, that we know she's pregnant, but why is her pregnancy causing such anxiety? That's also possible. But my guess is, what's going on here? Why is there something that's causing us such anxiety? Or why is there a pregnancy that's causing us such anxiety? That's as far as I can figure out. Okay. Namo Vijnana Viryaya Maya Yedam Peyushe Grihita Gunapedaya Namaste Vyaktayoneye. O original source of strength and scientific knowledge, all obeisances unto you. You have accepted the differentiated mode of passion from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. With the help of external energy, you are born of the unmanifested source. All obeisances unto you. Purport. The Vedas are the original scientific knowledge for all departments of understanding. And this knowledge of the Vedas was first impregnated into the heart of Brahma by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, Brahma is the original source of all scientific knowledge. He is born directly from the transcendental body of Garbhodakshai Vishnu, who is never seen by any creature of this material universe, and therefore always remains unmanifested. Brahma is stated here to be born of the unmanifested. He is the incarnation of the mode of passion in material nature, which is the separated external energy of the Supreme Lord. So the Namo Vijnana Viryaya, the Virya means strength, power, and Vijnana, Prabhupada translates as scientific knowledge. Prabhupada translates it in different ways, sometimes realized knowledge, but often as scientific knowledge, Vigyan. In Hindi and other languages, Vigyan is the usual term for science. So in Sanskrit, Prabhupada renders this Vigyan into the English scientific knowledge. It comes down to a question, of course, of what we consider to be science. Science is well defined by the materialistic scientists of today in a sort of, well, in their own terms. And of course, it strictly pertains to that which is empirically verifiable. But Prabhupada's science is a different science, or the science of Srimad Bhagavatam is a different science. It depends on, first of all, on a different way of knowing. The empiric science depends upon data and interpretation of data through an ascending process, whereas the Vigyan of the Vedic way involves knowledge descending from ultimately from the highest authority. So Vijnana Viryaya, you're the source of scientific knowledge. Lord Brahma, or again, taking Brahma as the representative of the Lord, the personality of Godhead, that Lord is the ultimate source of all knowledge. Maya idam upayushe. You've obtained this body of Brahma through the action of the external energy of the Lord. Grihita gunabhedaya. And you've particularly accepted a body which represents, represents, you could say, the mode of passion, or employs the energy of passion for creation. And namaste, avyakta yoni. Lord Brahma is avyakta yoni. He's born from the unmanifest, avyakta yoni. The source of his birth is the unmanifest absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, not the unmanifest impersonal absolute truth, which would be what the impersonalists would think, that there's some sort of abstract, homogeneous, absolute truth from which whatever we have here has become manifest. It's all a manifestation, a qualified materially, it's the absolute, whatever we see here is the absolute truth, qualified, that is to say, limited by material attributes. But they can't explain where these material attributes have come from, or why any portion of the absolute truth should be limited, or how there could even be portions of the absolute truth. If the absolute truth is homogeneous, how could it be divisible into portions, or, yes, some portion being limited, some portion being beyond limitations? So they have their idea that the material cosmic manifestation, whether however you think it comes about, whether by a big bang or by creation by Brahma or whatever, they can't explain how this emanates from the absolute truth, or represents the absolute truth, or somehow manifests some aspect of the absolute truth. Why from this abstract something should a specific kind of reality appear? And if we say, well, it's not reality at all, it's just Maya, then why should Maya appear and act in a specific way? This is the cardinal question that the impersonalists can't reasonably answer. Okay, we have a question here. Saraswati. Kashyap Muni could foresee the 2 children born of Diti would be great demons. So the demigods were already privy to this knowledge. So are they asking Brahma specifically why these 2 demons are creating so much havoc and how to counteract it? These are interesting questions. If Kashyap Muni could foresee that these great demons would be a source of trouble, wouldn't the demigods also foresee this? And if so, why are they asking? Well, it's an interesting question. I don't have an authority to refer to. One thought is that whatever they know, their knowledge is limited. So when we know something but not everything, sometimes we just put it all out there and say, what's going on here? We don't say, I already know this, I already know that. We just put it all together and say, what's happening here? Why this? Why this? I know there's a machine, but why is there smoke coming out of it? Or I know it's broken, but why has it come to this point? What's going on? Because essentially I'm in ignorance. When I know something, but not so much, then I have to admit that I'm ignorant to what's actually going on. So as we'll see, and this is just sort of what would you say? These are the verses we're reading now are the polite introduction we find in demigod society or in the presence of the personality of Godhead and elsewhere. Before we ask questions, first we offer some praise. In ISKCON these days, this tends to be ritualized in the form of, thank you for the very nice class, and then a question. Because people have discovered, I guess, that you're supposed to say something appreciative first. Anyway, without getting into that, that's what they're doing here. And of course, it's not just thank you for being Brahma, but they're describing the attributes of Brahma. When we offer obeisances or respect in this way, why? What are the qualifications that move us to offer you respect? So they're explaining why they're approaching Brahma, or they're offering their respects to Brahma before they have what would you say? Before they come forward before they becoming so bold as to ask a question of such a great person as Brahma, they first offer their respects. And then the verses will unfold and we'll find out more about what their mentality is, what their concerns are, perhaps what they know or don't know. We'll see that in the coming verses. For now, this is the invocation of respect. That's okay. Anything else? Okay.
Maharaj, there are a couple more things in the chat window.
This non-scrolling chat window. Okay. Lord Indra, Tulsi Priya says, didn't know that Prahlad was a great devotee. So would the demigods necessarily know the nature of the personalities in Diti's womb? Yeah, that's also a point. The demigods are not unlimited in their knowledge. Brahma is approached here as being practically limitless. Again, he's being seen as the representative of the Lord. The Lord has unlimited knowledge, the living entities less. So the demigods know more than we know. And Brahma knows more than the demigods know. But the demigods, yes, good point, don't know everything. And often when they're bewildered or when they're perplexed by something, and they have to approach Brahma and say, what's going on here? Good. Saraswati says, we see great munis and astrologers can predict the characteristics of souls that are going to be born by astrology from astrological charts. But are those characteristics fixed? Because devotees change their characters as they progress in bhakti. So that is an interesting question, of course. Again, I don't have a verse to quote you, but from what I've seen, these characteristics are taken as fixed. And so the Yudhisthira Maharaj asks the astrologers, the munis, will this child be a worthy descendant of his forefathers? He wants to know, and he expects that it is fixed. Otherwise, if it's all open, why ask? And it's not put in tentative language like, will he tend toward being a worthy king? And it's asked quite definitely, will he be? And they answer the same way. They don't say, well, he'll tend to be kind of like this. They don't hedge their bets like modern astrology columns in the newspaper. In this period, you'll tend to feel more like this, so you may feel more like they're hedging their bets all over the place because they don't really know. But the learned astrologers would know. Yes, this boy will be like this, he'll be like this, he'll do this, he'll die this way. They knew so much. So it's fixed, but then what's done with what's fixed, or how what's fixed is manifested, may be different for a devotee, or may change. But let's take how it's fixed. The Prabhupada said that, or how it may change. Prabhupada said that he was meant to be wealthy like Birla, which today would be like, anyway, Bill Gates or somebody like that. So Prabhupada was meant to be wealthy, but Krishna changed that. And Krishna can do that in the case of a devotee. Or perhaps more in line with what we might expect, less dramatically, those characteristics may be manifested in a way that's favorable for devotional service. I can say from my own astrological chart that I have some very unfavorable features. One is that I'll never have I'll never have family happiness. I'll never be blessed to live at home. I'll spend too much time in foreign countries. So these are all characteristics of an astrological chart. And hearing about this, family members might say, oh, that doesn't look very good. But for someone engaged in as a sannyasi in Krishna service, it's very good. Who wants family happiness? Who wants to live at home? So these characteristics may be fixed, but work in a favorable way. So those are our two answers. I hope that helps. Tulsi Priya says, it just seems bewildering that a pregnancy could cause such cosmic disturbance. and they were trying to understand. That's certainly the basic principle here. Either they didn't know even that it was the pregnancy, just what is it? Now what's going on? Why such a disturbance? Or they knew that it has something to do with Titi's pregnancy, but they didn't know quite what. Why, what is going on here? So either way would seem to be suitable. Saraswati, I was thinking about when Ved Vyas told Gandhari to kill Duryodhana immediately upon birth, as he foresaw what Duryodhana would do, that he would cause destruction of the entire family. But she admitted her folly and having maternal affection, moha, that prevented her from doing this. And then Prabhin offers, Nahyasya Karyachid Rajan Puman Veda Viditsitam Yad Vijigyasaya Yukta Muyanti Kavayopihi Bhishmadev, O king, no one can know the plan of Lord Sri Krishna, even though great philosophers inquire exhaustively. They are bewildered. Yes. And Tulsi Priya has a question.
Thank you, Maharaj. Please accept my obeisances. It just occurred to me, and I've never had this thought before, but the whole pastime of Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, these are the manifestations of demonic appearances of Jai and Vijay and their servants in Vaikuntha. This is not a karmic event, is it? So it seems, and I'm speculating here, forgive me if I'm doing the wrong thing, but it seems that the demigods may know what's in their purview, which is karmic events, but they wouldn't know what's going on with a non-karmic event. It might be confusing to them because that's not their wheelhouse, as people like to say nowadays. It's out of their realm of authority or knowledge or whatever. So I was just wondering if that's a possibility. If this is like a special Leela, then it's Krishna knows, and that's it. And everybody else is, it's like there's nothing within the ordinary course of events. This is an extraordinary appearance that's not based in karma.
Well, we will find in the coming verses, as we go along, that Brahma explains what happens.
Mm-hmm.
That they were in Vaikuntha and they fell down, and they were at the gates of Vaikuntha, they fell down, then they've been placed in the wombs of demons for 3 births, and that's the background of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So it appears that the demigods at least were unaware of that part of it. They may have, who knows, they may have been able to see the astrological chart or not, but they didn't have this background, and Brahma supplies it.
Just to clarify, I'm not remembering and I'm not reading ahead, which I should probably, but is this a karmic event that would be explained in astrology? I guess, Krishna had an astrologer and Mahaprabhu had an astrologer, say things, but I'm just wondering if there's no karma attached, then how is it influenced by?
No, there's certainly, they've been inserted into material nature.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that they're somehow or other not acting according to the laws of nature.
Mm-hmm.
To some extent, yes, because Diti is keeping them in the womb for 100 years. That's not normal.
Mm-hmm.
But from another point of view, they have to take birth. So what is that? Well, that's the way material nature works. What is the way material nature works? That's karma. Mm-hmm. Something causes something, which causes something. So, and because they're born, they'll have to die. Mm-hmm. So that's all within, what would you say, the purview of the material laws. They're not 100% beyond that.
Mhm.
But Krishna is working in the background, making all of these things happen in a particular way. So when Krishna does that, he can supersede the laws of nature or employ the laws of nature as he likes.
One other question, if I may.
Mhm.
I had another question. In the purport, it says Lord Brahma is the incarnation of the mode of passion in material nature, which I liked that little specificity at the end, in material nature, because I just wanted to get clarity in my understanding. There's the mode of passion, there's the three gunas, but then they manifest in each universe, like, because there's unlimited universes, so unlimited Brahmas. So he's the incarnation of the mode of passion in material nature in that particular universe, not in general. So there's like a larger principle of Rajagun, and Lord Brahma is sort of like the personality of the mode of passion within each universe, or different Brahmas are.
Yeah, fair enough. Brahma is certainly not the incarnation of passion for all the unlimited universes, but for his universe.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. Ye tvananyena pavena pavayantyatma pavanam atmani protapuvanam param sadasad atmakam. O Lord, all these planets exist within yourself, and all the living entities are generated from you. Therefore, you are the cause of this universe. And anyone who meditates upon you without deviation attains devotional service. So again, Brahma is being addressed as though the personality of Godhead were in the role of representing the personality of Godhead. Okay.
Maharaj, there was one question just before that verse. Doug and Shara sent a question.
Okay, let's find it. Is there any indication from Shastra that the laws of nature may be dynamic? Or are they set fixed at the time of creation? In general, they're fixed. They're fixed. There's a verse I've quoted. Let's see if I can find it here. Yeah. In Srimad Bhagavatam, and let's find the reference for you. In Bhagavatam 3:10-13, as the world is now, so it was in the past, and so it will be in the future. So that's all fixed by the arrangement of the personality of Godhead. It's not that things are, what's the word, so very variant. There's always the same pattern coming back again and again. Even Brahma is has been praying and was praying in the second canto, that please let me create this universe as it was before. So things are set up in such a way that they're fixed. They're fixed. Water always works as water. The air always works as air, with the same characteristics that air has, with the same power that air has or water has. All the elements work that way. All the demigods have certain powers and not other powers. So the laws of nature are fixed by the personality of Godhead. Dharmam hi sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Dharma, taken not just as religion, but as the way things are sustained, is fixed by the personality of Godhead. But the Lord can overstep the laws of material nature. Things may be fixed, but Krishna can unfix them. He can do things as he likes. That's Swarat, independence. That's his quality of being independent. He can change things if he so wishes. But otherwise, the laws are fixed as far as I understand. Yeah, elsewhere it's said that the living entities are bound by the laws of nature, that the way is a bull is led by its nose. And in another verse it's said that, several verses, that the things are set up in such a way that the various elements of creation work like the warp and woof of a cloth, in which everything is fixed. So it's not a wild universe in which things just happens. There's certain forces that are unleashed at the beginning, and they may just happen this way, that way. That would be the sort of modern scientific approach to, I suppose, you could tell me better, you would know better than I, but that, we have certain givens at the beginning, and then things could go this way, things could go that way. It's all a throw of the dice. Any of infinite possibilities could show up, and so this universe just happens to have life because, well, there's so many universes and so many possibilities. So this one just happens to be the one in which this possibility or the set of possibilities appear. But from the Bhagavatam's point of view, no, this is set up by the personality of Godhead to happen in a certain way. And we see that the world does work in certain predictable ways. And science says that, we also say that, because the laws of nature are working. Another particular way, another verse. Yat chakshuresha savita sakala grahana aja samasta suramurtir shesha teja yas yadnaya brahmati sampratakala chakra govindamadi purusham tamaham. I offer my respectful obeisances to Govinda, Krishna, by whose order the sun works exactly as it is meant to. Manifesting the wheel of time. It's not that the sun may go this way or that way, wobble a little bit in its orbit. It exactly follows the path ordained by the personality of Godhead. The planets exactly follow the orbits ordained by the personality of Godhead. Or you can say the engineering plan put in place by Brahma under the authority of the personality of Godhead, whichever way we take it. The sun doesn't have independence, or the sun is not a group of forces that might act this way, might act that way, according to the way the atoms move, or the atomic particles, or what have you, according to the way they move. Some might go this way, some might go that way. Exactly. According to the order of the personality of God. So that means fixed. And Kendra Prabhu has, no, that's, I hope that's all right. Okay. Saraswati says, so Jai and Vijay were not bound by laws of karma, since they would take 3 fixed births as demons and karma wouldn't affect them at all. It's not, this would be how you want to look at it. They're thrown into the material world. Material world means where there's karma. But their karma is already, what would you say, ordained. Just like they have, I know of a case where there was a special prisoner. I believe he was involved with American intelligence. And if I recall, American intelligence had reasons, for reasons of their own. They wanted him in prison, and they wanted him subject to certain conditions. And so he was convicted of some crime, but there were rather specific, it was all being sort of orchestrated from above. It all happened according to the workings of the court system and the usual penal system. But there were other forces at play that made the penal system work in a particular way. Even at Guantanamo, which is now no longer in the public light, but in the American prison in Guantanamo, it was understood from the reviews that were done of what was going on there, that and there was some sort of fancy language, I forget what it was, but that it wasn't just the prison authorities that called the shots. There were other authorities that directed the prison authorities. That is to say, American intelligence was really in charge and not the military. The military was carrying things out according to their protocols, but under the direction of, there was some sort of fancy language or indirect language, but it meant they were working under the direction of the CIA. So they are under the laws of karma, but the way that they're under the laws of karma, or the particular set of karmic variables, or maybe variables is not the right, karmic principles, or a particular set of karmic circumstances that determined their future, were all under special management. They were all under special management. Hope that helps. Tulsi Priya says, I'm not sure I understand the question. Can't a principle be both fixed and dynamic? Well, a principle would have to specify that things both be fixed and dynamic. So there's a fixed principle there someplace. But let's see, for example, the typical example is that the sun always produces light and heat, fixed, but by its association with water, it produces coolness and shade. And sometimes things go out of balance, chaos, but within a larger universal pattern, fixed. By water, she means the clouds. I don't know why that things, we don't see chaos and out of balance are two different things. First of all, chaos is generally just meant to be extreme incohesiveness. Things are just all spinning without any plan. Out of balance would be something different, particularly if it's within what we call out of balance. Usually means we don't understand how it creates balance or how it's part of balance. So we see what we call accidents, for example. Something's really didn't happen for any reasonable reason, or it contravened reasonable expectations. A freak accident. But freak accidents don't just happen. It's not just something going out of balance, but we understand from a larger perspective that they're exactly working as they're meant to. They're exactly working as they're meant to. We may not know why. We may not know why, but things are not just happening chaotically. There's a plan. But it looks like chaos to us because we don't know what it is. But those are my thoughts. It looked like it was Doug's question. So maybe he might want to speak to your question.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Tulsi Priya. In the context of that question, and in terms of what you wrote, so for example, you could have a phase transition from water to ice or something like that. And that's a dynamic process, but that's governed by the second law of thermodynamics, which in modern science is supposedly not going to change, or some other physical constants in the universe, like the speed of light or other things that just don't change. So there's a law that governs it, but the events that can happen from that are dynamic. So I don't know if I was asking if the laws themselves can change either within a cycle or the next cycle and so on.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Thank
and
you.
again, does that clarify things?
Yeah, I didn't have the language immediately, and I wanted to ask before the class was over. So thank you for clarifying that.
Okay. Even the extent to which things are fixed, we would say is not recognized by modern science or most people. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha. Everything happens in obedience to the workings of Prakriti, which works in a particular way under the order of Govinda. That's also there. What is that? Srishti stati pralaya sadhana shaktireka chayeva yasya bhuvanani bhivarti durga. It's chanurupam api yasya chacheshtatesa. Govindamadi purusham tamam. I offer my obeisances to Govinda, according to whose will, it's cha, according to whose will material nature conducts herself in a particular way. Nothing is just haphazard. Material nature can't say, well, let's do it this way for a change. It's Janurupam, exactly according to the will of the personality of Godhead. Material nature carries out her actions, her actions. And then we're subject to the laws of material nature. And we think that we have all this independence, and we think that things happen by chance. But that's not the way it's described in Shastra. Our independence is tiny. Okay, shall we have kirtan? Or rather, who will lead the kirtan? We shall have kirtan.
I think Panchatattva Prabhu is ready to lead kirtan. Prabhin put a nice example in the chat of another instance where Krishna suspends or intervenes in the laws of nature.
When Yamaraj offered his services to Krishna, to the Lord, Krishna asked him to return his teacher's son who had come to him as a result of his work. Considering my ruling supreme, Krishna said, you should immediately return to me, the son of my teacher. Yeah, so Krishna can just say, just overstep ordinary considerations. Or the Ajamya, that's another one where the Yamaduta said, hey, we're just doing our duty. This is all look at his record. This is all according to law. And they said, no, you don't know how things work. Vishnu calls the shots. Okay, let's have kirtan.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Om Srimad Paramahansa Pariprajapacharya Ashtottara Satushri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktavrinda Ki Jai, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath, Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Navadip Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Ki Jai, Gangamayi Ki Jai, Jamunamayi Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhaktavrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Mahesh Pandit. Thank you, Panchatattva Prabhu. And thank you, Haridas and Meena. And thank you to all.
Thank you,
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Dr. Shah.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Shraddha Devi. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Jayadvaita Maharaj Ki Jai.
Samaveta Bhaktavrinda Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande.
Hare